Their argument is that she's popular because she's white. Then why didn't Stewie turn the W on its head after winning 4 natties with UConn? Why didn't Sabrina turn the W on its head after being called like a media darling?
I mean, the league was built on the backs of talented black women like yourself. I mean, these white girls come along, right? Cameron Adler, Caitlin Clark, and they're instant superstars.
The one bit where all these white girls come along and they're instant superstars, it's only Caitlin Clark that was the instant superstar.
You gotta admit there's something special about her game though, right?
Yeah, she's white.
Here's what Caitlin Clark could do. Y'all come at me like this, I'm not doing any interviews with you. Y'all keep coming at it with these dumbasses, Monica McNutt. I'm done with you. I'm not doing interviews with you. We'll go play in the Unrivaled League, and let's see which league gets going. And then let's see where the hell we're at. Your dumbasses at ESPN want to get up there and be racist as hell towards me. I don't participate in racism. Next time I hear that bull, we ain't playing in a game that you're televising.
It happened on national television, in a scripted crime drama of all places. The latest episode of Law & Order SVU didn't just take a cheap shot at Caitlin Clark, it launched a full-on assault on her character.
There's the two sides who think she is only popular and does have the notoriety and recognition that she does because she is white. There is the other side that says you guys are crazy, you're all jealous of her, and she is just talented.
Under the guise of fiction, they dragged her name into a racialized storyline, reduced her talent to the color of her skin, and made her the centerpiece of a narrative designed to spark outrage. And it worked. This wasn't just a reference, it was a weapon.
Yeah, so she was good with that elbow you threw at her face?
I didn't say she was good with it, but she joked that it was good for the game, that it would get us lots of media coverage.
She may have a whole bunch of turnovers, but she does things in a way that you haven't seen. She does things that are exciting to watch.
A primetime smear campaign hiding behind scripted dialogue. No facts, no fairness. Just another attempt to rewrite Caitlin's story with bitterness and jealousy. But this time, they went too far. Because the world knows who Caitlin Clark really is, and we're not letting them get away with this.
Here we go again. Why is Caitlin Clark popular?
People aren't spending 3 hours of their time to watch Caitlin Clark play basketball because they're racially motivated.
It all went down on April 10th during an episode of Law & Order, Special Victims Unit. Season 24, Episode 18, titled Bubble Wrap. At first glance, it looked like a typical plotline. Drama, tension, and emotional depth, like the show has delivered for years. But this episode took a disturbing detour in the middle of a completely unrelated storyline.
So there is an episode of Law & Order that was just aired on April 10th, and it's called Bubble Wrap. It is season 24, episode 18. I think that a lot of people, myself included, are very tired of this narrative when there's so much proof of the reason Caitlin Clark being popular, and it is because what she does on the court.
The writers inserted a scene that had nothing to do with crime or justice, and everything to do with tearing down Caitlin Clark. In the now viral moment, two characters begin discussing why certain players are getting more attention in the WNBA. And without hesitation, the names Cameron Adler, a fictional white player, and Caitlin Clark are thrown into the fire.
When's the last time you heard about Law & Order? That Law & Order scene cannot be written without Caitlin Clark. That mention cannot happen without Caitlin Clark because you couldn't say it for Elena Delle Donne or Brianna Stewart or Sabrina Ionescu or Sue Bird or Paige Beckers.
The line was crystal clear. The league was built on the backs of talented black women. And then these white girls come along, Cameron Adler, Caitlin Clark, and they're instant superstars. But it didn't stop there. When another character suggests that maybe there's something special about Caitlin's game, the response is ice cold. Yeah, she's white.
If it was because she was white, Sabrina Ionescu would have changed and brought the WNBA and turned it on its head, but she is not turning the W upside down on its head like Caitlin Clark is.
Let that sink in. This wasn't commentary. This wasn't satire. This was a scripted, televised moment that reduced one of the most accomplished athletes in women's basketball to a single word: white. No mention of her NCAA scoring record. No acknowledgement of her historic rookie season in the WNBA. No appreciation for the millions of fans she's brought to the game. Just a cheap, racially charged punchline.
You stand up to bullies. You don't acquiesce. Because when you acquiesce or apologize, it will never stop. You stand up to bullies. You tell them go F themselves.
And this didn't happen in a debate show or on a sports panel. It aired on Law and Order, a show known for tackling serious, often uncomfortable truths about society. But instead of honoring facts, they injected a lie disguised as insight.
Caitlin Clark mentioned on Law and Order.
You've been talking trash about her for a while, right? Saying that she was a joke, that you were going to kick her ass.
Come on, man. It was just talk.
Look, I get it. I mean, the league was built on the backs of talented black women like yourself. I mean, these white girls come along, right? Cameron Adler, Caitlin Clark, and they're instant superstars. Everybody's saying they put the league on the map.
And they're getting all the endorsements and sponsorships. Yeah, it's messed up.
You got to admit there's something special about her game, though, right?
Yeah, she's white. But I hear you. Cam could play. I had a lot of respect for her.
Really? Just didn't look that way.
It was a big game. We're both really competitive, and we got into it. But that was it. We even talked after the game for a bit, cleared the air.
Yeah, so she was good with that elbow you threw at her face?
Didn't say she was good with it, but she joked that it was good for the game, that it would get us lots of media coverage.
Caitlin Clark wasn't consulted. She wasn't involved. She didn't write this scene. But somehow, she became the villain in a storyline she had nothing to do with. Imagine being one of the most talked about athletes in the world right now. You've broken records, elevated an entire league, and brought in new audiences from every demographic. And instead of being praised, you get blindsided by a fictional character calling your success a byproduct of privilege. It wasn't just unfair, it was deliberate.
Clark's popularity and the reality of the fans that are celebrating her is so different than what you see on social media. You never hear, "Go white girl!"
The show didn't critique a system, it critiqued a person, a real one. Caitlin Clark's name wasn't used metaphorically. It wasn't a coincidence. It was targeted, and the message was clear. Her accomplishments are somehow less legitimate because of her skin color. But here's the real irony. Caitlin Clark is not the first white player in the WNBA. She's not the only one with endorsements. So why is she the one they chose to drag into this?
There's just so much statistical data to prove why people are invested and interested and can't stop looking at Caitlin Clark. Like, she has broken a record for records. As a rookie, she has done things nobody else has done. Stats do not require race as a prerequisite. They just are what they are.
Because she's the one who's dominating. Because she's the one filling arenas. Because she's the one changing the game. And instead of celebrating that, they decided to rewrite her rise as some sort of racial injustice. This wasn't an episode of television. It was a cultural hit job, and Caitlin didn't even see it coming.
It all comes back to Caitlin Clark's popularity. I believe it is based on basketball more than anything else. Look at what went viral from the Letterman clip, her playing basketball.
What Law & Order did wasn't just an awkward script choice. It was a carefully crafted attack disguised as storytelling. And the most disturbing part? It echoed a growing media trend. The attempt to reduce Caitlin Clark's historic rise to nothing more than whiteness.
She's different. She's a white girl from the middle of corn country.
They like Caitlin Clark because she's not a victim, because she doesn't seem to be angry. And so they find her relatable.
This isn't the first time someone has tried to rewrite her story, but this episode took it to a new level. Primetime TV, a massive audience, and a scripted accusation that her success isn't earned. It's handed to her because of the color of her skin. This scene was more than fiction. It mirrored a dangerous narrative that's been pushed for months by bitter analysts, jealous former players, and agenda-driven outlets.
And little girls said, hey, I can relate to Caitlin Clark. She's like us. She has a boyfriend. There's a lot of parents that feel real comfortable taking their kids to a game.
Monica McNutt, for instance, outright said Caitlin's fame is because she's white and from the Midwest. Others have compared her to Donald Trump supporters. The BBC ran with this narrative. ESPN doubled down. And now NBC's Law & Order joined in.
Prevailing narrative that has been created around this season's WNBA play is that it's the league versus Caitlin Clark. And that is just absolutely false. It is unfair to the women that have been there building this league to this moment so that Caitlin Clark's popularity could take it to the next level.
There's a method to this madness. When given a chance to talk about Caitlin Clark, they're always going to racialize it and try to demonize Caitlin Clark's fan base.
Let's pause and ask, if Caitlin Clark were any other race, but doing the exact same thing, would this even be a conversation? Would her accomplishments be dismissed? Would the network's air scenes implying her success is fraudulent? Of course not, because what they're really uncomfortable with isn't who Caitlin is. It's what she represents: dominance, popularity, and impact in a league that has long struggled to break through.
And Caitlin Clark does have a further 3-point range than even Steph Curry, and that is just kind of bonkers. Think about how popular Steph Curry is. Caitlin Clark shoots farther away on average than he does.
And here's what makes this whole thing even more hypocritical. Caitlin Clark never asked to be the center of the storm. She doesn't talk politics. She doesn't trash other players. She's not out here chasing headlines. All she's done is perform every night, on every stage, at every level. She has shattered records no one thought were breakable. She's drawn more fans to WNBA games than the league has seen in decades.
Caitlin Clark made the comments to Time magazine. Monica McNutt recently said on BBC, perhaps a big reason for Caitlin Clark's popularity is she's white and from the Midwest.
The Monica McNutt stuff, and specifically with this level of media, we're talking about with ESPN, their issue with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark represents Trump America, MAGA America. They see her and they say, this is someone that everybody who roots for probably voted for Donald Trump, and I hate Donald Trump, and I hate those red hats, and I hate everything that represents to me. Because to me, that represents racism.
She's become the reason ESPN, ABC, and social media platforms are even covering women's basketball at this level. And she did it all through basketball. Not image, not controversy, not viral gimmicks. Yet instead of being celebrated, she's being targeted. Instead of being appreciated for her excellence, she's being accused of stealing the spotlight, simply because she's the one holding it now.
Former black players have decided, hey, we're going to hate on Caitlin Clark constantly to elevate ourselves, but also trigger her fans so that they'll keep coming to games and rooting for her, and it's going to elevate the entire league.
What Law & Order did was amplify a false, divisive, and deeply unfair narrative. A lazy explanation for why someone like Caitlin Clark is succeeding in a space that some people thought she didn't belong in. They're not criticizing her because she lacks talent. They're criticizing her because she's talented, and that truth makes them uncomfortable. This wasn't about justice. It wasn't about commentary. It was a scripted ambush dressed up as fiction, and it speaks to a larger agenda, one where facts don't matter, stats are ignored, and race becomes the go-to excuse when someone's greatness can't be denied.
Monica has figured out a way to make the WNBA relevant and profitable long term. The lady from the BBC, she seems to be asking Monica McDougal how the WNBA can maintain their momentum from last season. There's an easy answer to that question. More than likely, they can't.
Two things. I think it has to show up in our storytelling, and it has to be encouraged by our families.
Yeah.
To me, right? And so covering the WNBA this past season, Caitlin Clark's rookie year, for all of the conversation that surrounded her, some which was fair and some which wasn't, the one thing that I cannot deny is the amount of little girls that were showing up to follow her, little girls with their parents, and the fervor and the energy there.
Why her?
Same thing.
Why her?
Well, I was just about to say same thing for Angel Reese when I had a chance to cover their games. But I think Caitlin represented, and again, some of this to me probably is not fair to her because it was not anything that she said or was truly based on her personality, but she was a white girl from the middle of America. And so she represented a whole lot to a lot of people, whether that is truly what she prescribed to or not. We can all say she is a dynamic basketball player and a force both on the court and the marketing sense. But I do think same thing with folks that may have fallen in love with Angel Reese that may or may not have agreed with everything they had to say either. We attach our fandom to these icons for all types of reasons.
Where are these Angel Reese fans? When I see Chicago Bravado games on TV, the only things I see are missed layups and empty seats.
But Caitlin Clark isn't shrinking from the moment. She's never let jealousy or agenda stop her before, and this time will be no different. Now let's talk about what really makes all of this so absurd: the facts. Because while scripted characters are throwing shade and commentators are spinning race into every headline, Caitlin Clark is letting her numbers do the talking, and they're screaming louder than any fictional smear campaign ever could. In just her rookie season, Caitlin Clark has done what veterans spend years trying to achieve. She leads all rookies, and in many cases, the entire league, in assists. She's dropping logo threes like it's nothing, threading no-look passes through double teams, and dragging a struggling Indiana Fever team into national relevance all by herself.
Every single one of you WNBA players, you better pray that Caitlin Clark doesn't get injured. because she's keeping your league afloat.
Juju Watkins goes down with a devastating injury that might keep her out next season. God forbid. If the same thing happens to Caitlin Clark, the WNBA will not survive. You have one young woman carrying the entire league.
Let's be clear. She's not just participating, she's carrying the WNBA on her back. Attendance, upper. Revenue, upper. TV ratings, upper. Social media buzz, through the roof. And what changed this season? One name, Caitlin Clark. ESPN, ABC, Amazon Prime, every platform that once treated WNBA games as filler content is now showcasing them like they're Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Entire arenas that used to have empty rows are now sold out every night when Caitlin's in town.
Caitlin Clark is relatable and popular, and people want to see her play because she's exciting as heck to watch and because she's not filled with anger. People are attracted to joy.
Her presence alone turns any city into a basketball hotspot. And yet, despite all this undeniable impact, critics want to pretend it's all just whiteness. Let's not play games. Sabrina Ionescu is white. Paige Buckers is white. Breanna Stewart is white. All incredibly talented, all heavily hyped, but none of them move the needle like Caitlin Clark. Why? Because it's not about race. It's about results. Caitlin doesn't just play basketball. She electrifies it. Her style is fast, fearless, and magnetic. She's Steph Curry range with Magic Johnson vision and Kobe Bryant confidence, all in one. And no racial narrative can manufacture that.
#1 revenue sport in America. What do you think it is? The NFL. How much you think they make? $17 billion. The NBA, a little over $11 billion. You guys are a $150 to $200 million company. You're operating at a loss every single year. You've never made money. It's called a zombie company. You're subsidized by the NBA.
Still not convinced? Look at her endorsements. She's not getting random influencer deals. She's signing with Nike, Gatorade, State Farm, Goldman Sachs, Xfinity, and more. These are blue-chip brands that don't hand out contracts for skin color. They invest in value, and Caitlin's value is unmatched. Even NBA legends and celebrities are lining up to praise her. Shane Gillis, one of the biggest names in comedy, admitted he was starstruck meeting her. Michael Thompson, NBA champion and father of Klay Thompson, couldn't even say hello. He froze in her presence. When you have athletes, analysts, and comedians all openly admitting that she is the reason they're watching the WNBA now, the conversation about why she's popular ends right there. And let's not forget the biggest irony of all.
She's not playing with anger. She's not playing with a sense of entitlement. And yes, people find that relatable.
The very people trying to tear her down are benefiting from her rise. Other WNBA players are getting more exposure because she's in the league. Teams are making more money, merch is flying off the shelves, viewership is peaking, and yet instead of gratitude, what does Caitlin get? Targeted fouls on the court, condescending analysis off it, and now a primetime ambush on national television. But Caitlin Clark never asked for special treatment.
What happened is Caitlin Clark in her sophomore year and really in her junior year just started excelling and doing things that nobody had ever seen a female basketball player do. Like nobody had consistently been shooting these from the logo passes.
She shoots logo threes, passes the ball like Magic Johnson, scores a lot of points, leads the league in assists. She's a great, great player, and she plays and shoots and releases the ball like Steph Curry. So there's the attraction to the exciting style of play.
She never cried foul. She just kept showing up, hitting shots, drawing crowds, and proving day after day that greatness doesn't need defending. It just needs a platform. And that's what scares people the most, because she's not asking for the spotlight. She is the spotlight. And no scripted scene, no media spin, and no whisper campaign can take that away.
Who's going to be the next face of the NBA? We don't get to decide that. The marketplace decides that. The people have chosen Caitlin Clark. They enjoy watching her play, her style, her energy, her shot. Whether it's because her game mirrors one of the greatest players in the NBA in Steph Curry or not, I don't know what it is. It's an intangible thing, right? Yes, we can say she's a dog. Okay, there's been other dogs. Okay, she's a great shooter. There's been other great shooters. Mm-hmm. She has it. She's got the thing. I remember when the WNBA started. I was thrilled. I was a fan. I couldn't believe it was an opportunity for me, a 5'2", 97-pound girl, to go play professional basketball. That wasn't going to happen for me. But the idea that it existed was special to me. And now she's offering that to not just little girls, but little boys as well. She's spread the fan base. So
Law & Order may have thought they were making a statement, but what they really did was reveal their bias. By name-dropping Caitlin Clark and reducing her success to her skin color, they didn't create drama. They exposed an agenda. One that's becoming all too common: tear down the person who's winning, not because of what they've done wrong, but because they've risen too far, too fast, and too powerfully. But here's what they forgot. Caitlin Clark isn't just surviving the spotlight, she's thriving in it. No smear campaign, no scripted insult, and no racially charged dig is going to erase what she's accomplished. The records still stand. The arenas are still full. The world is still watching, not because she's white, but because she's undeniable. So let the critics talk. Let the shows write their lazy scenes. Meanwhile, Caitlin will keep doing what she's always done, changing the game, one play at a time. If you stand with her, drop unbothered GOAT in the comments and subscribe for more videos that cut through the noise and give you the truth. Because no matter what they say, Caitlin Clark can't be scripted. She's real, and she's unstoppable.
I mean, the league was built on the backs of talented black women like yourself. I mean, these white girls come along, right? Karen Adler, Caitlin Clark, and they're instant superstars.
The one bit where all these white girls come along and they're instant superstars, it's only Caitlin Clark that was the instant superstar.
You got to admit there's something special about her game, though, right?
Yeah, she's white.
Caitlin Clark mentioned on Law & Order.
You've been talking trash about her for a while, right? Saying that she was a joke, that you were going to kick her ass.
Come on, man. It was just talk.
Look, I get it. I mean, the league was built on the backs of talented black women like yourself. I mean, these white girls come along, right? Karen Adler, Caitlin Clark, and they're instant superstars. Everybody's saying they put the league on the map.
And they're getting all the endorsements and sponsorships. Yeah, it's messed up.
You got to admit there's something special about her game, though, right?
Yeah, she's white. But I hear you. Cam could play. I had a lot of respect for her.
Really? Just didn't look that way.
It was a big game. We're both really competitive, and we got into it. But that was it. We even talked after the game for a bit, cleared the air.
Yeah, so she was good with that elbow you threw at her face?
I wouldn't say she was good with it, but she joked that it was good for the game, that it would get us lots of media coverage.